guys, I'm just here spreading a little awareness today and collected a few different articles and things to look at and consider about some of the things with our food supply. This is actually an article from last year, and it was about the New York Times being accused of normalizing cannibalism. And this is what we're seeing today, is that they're 3D printing meat. And these are all the atrocities that we have to witness while we're traversing through the age of Aquarius into the age of truth and all, is that they want to normalize a lot of heinous activities, crimes against God, the God of light, that is, because there's a God of darkness as well. And, they want to normalize all the crimes against humanity. Everything is being thrown into chaos, and we must sort through it through our spiritual knowing, basically. So the more you know yourself, the more you cannot be deceived. And the whole purpose behind all of the things that are happening out here in the world is to lock you in time, to trip you up, and to keep your soul from evolving out of their reach. And, once you do develop your spiritual eyes and your spiritual senses, you can no longer be fooled. So the veil of darkness falls away, the veil of shadows. It's all for your spiritual evolution. That's what any of this is, because we're in this construct of light and dark. And we are right in the middle of the battlefield, basically. And our souls is what they're after. And that comes with a price. So anything that you contract with, in regards to giving up your consciousness or your attention, your focus, that is a contract. And I'll be doing another video about a little movie I tried to watch where they actually are now stating it, I guess, before you watch a movie, that you're actually contracting with them. So just to know and raise more awareness about all of the heinous things that they're trying to feed people to also stop their evolution of soul. They are adding these things to the food. They're adding human cells to food, and they're doing lab-grown meat, and they're doing all of these heinous acts against the gods and lords of light. So, and that would include us. We are the ones who are learning how to be miniature gods, because it's all about consciousness. And there's higher evolved consciousness that is among us. And the good consciousnesses will not step in and intervene in a spiritual path of a lower consciousness. And lower doesn't mean less than, it just means that they're upcoming, just like sprouts, just like plants. They're not any less than their forefathers. They're just growing. They're growing spiritually. And this is a prime example, that this is a spiral staircase that we're all on, and we're on different levels of awareness. And there are other beings who can live eternally, and they choose when to die. And they are here for our evolution. But there's also the ones who cannot evolve anymore because of their choices and their spiritual development to go towards the darkness. And they're stuck now. They're stuck in a lower plane, and they cannot evolve from there. And they want us to not be able to evolve because they can't live without us. They can't live without vampiring off of our energy. And in order for them to do that, they have to put fear in us, and they have to be able to control us, absolutely. But when we turn our backs on their control system, and we learn more about our own innate control system and what we can do with our light, this is what scares them the most and what they fear the most. So, with that being said, all of these things that I put out here are always just to raise more awareness on many different levels, because there's so much happening right now. The darkness is getting darker because it's being exposed by the light. You have light in you, just as I do, and these other ones do not anymore. So they can only put up a veil of shadows, and the whole purpose is to stop your evolution of your spirit. So, with all of that, let's get into this. And this is not to put out fear porn or anything like that. It's just to put out information regarding what they're doing to the food supply so that you can be more aware, you can make more informed choices, and do not contract with the darkness. It's very important to know that the darkness is there just to be a speed bump along our journey. So the New York Times put out this article about cannibalism has a time and a place, according to the New York Times piece that was blasted for normalizing human consumption. And in an essay published in the New York Times on Saturday, and this is July the 24th of 2022, titled A Taste for Cannibalism, writer Alex Beggs discussed recent media involving cannibalism. A spate of recent stomach-churning books, TV shows, and films suggests we've never looked so delicious to one another, she wrote. These people are paid to do all this stuff. Now, we do have people who are possessed. There's many different factions of things going on because chaos, it begins underground. All of the chaos does. And what the light does is it creates order from that chaos. So through all of our internal and external changes and energies, we can begin to arrange even our emotions and our thoughts and everything in an orderly fashion to control the chaos of emotions and things of this nature. And this is what we're all learning on a spiritual level. It turns out cannibalism has a time and a place, she added, noting that recently published books and media hint that time is now, because we are entering into the darkest winter of consciousness. And that dark winter is going to span over 4,000 years. But, that's just a blip in this existence. And the time, since it does not truly exist, and this is all just a revolving wheel of events, and none of it really matters ultimately, except for your evolution of your consciousness. That's it. This is all a holographic reality. It's a slow, dense reality of water, basically. This is what everything is pointing to, is that everything is crystalline structure. Even our body is crystalline, but it's not as crystalline as it could be, because it could be cleaner, it could be better, it could be brighter, it could be more positive, and it could also be more powerful. But all of that comes as we evolve around the Great Wheel cycle. And since we're only in second grade, going into second grade, that is, with the age of Aquarius, we don't quite have all of our innate abilities yet. Those innate abilities come as we work with them. So if you're truly wishing to move forward from second grade and evolve into third grade, a more wise soul that comes back in and has some information to work with, and some of the different magical practices and things of this nature. It's just innate abilities. It's not even magic. But you can come in and do battle against the machines at the end of the age of Aquarius, or right on the cusp of the age of Capricorn, where I do sense that it will be the rise of the hybrids, the half human, half animal hybrid beings that will be coming in onto the world stage, because they are real. I don't believe that anything that the ancients wrote was fictional. I believe that they showed it as it was. And these things get normalized as we progress around. And that normalization, it will integrate into our world. But again, a lot of these things, they get washed away, and the original creation gets to remain. So it's just like a big video game, really, where you're playing a video game, and sometimes you win and sometimes you lose. But then you get to reset and restart, come back into the game and continue your journey. And, a lot of times you're playing the same character in some of the games, but sometimes you can change your character. Well, that's exactly what we do with this. That's what the zodiac is all about, who you are and what this construct is. So You are tied to the construct and you chose to come in at this time. It's a lot of information. A lot of people, I think that some people are getting it and some people aren't. I mean, everybody has their own personal journey of which they, choose their path of which way they want to go and what they want to believe in. I truly want to get this right, and I want to get in and get out, and I want to evolve rapidly through this consciousness construct. So I am diving into the mystery schools and all of that personally. I believe that learning the foundations of this reality, beginning in the past and then moving forward, is my path of choice. So that's what I'm doing personally. And I do encourage others to look within and what you came here to do. But I'm not going to get into this entire article. You guys can go read this on Breitbart. All you have to do is type in the New York Times cannibal article that came out last year. I do want to get into some of the evidence of what is going on. Of course, there's information about McDonald's 3D printing their chicken McNuggets and a lot of their food products and things. And this is what they're doing for commercial cuisine. 3D printed meat, you guys can go and look at some of this stuff as well. This is disgusting. It's heinous. You have to understand that you are what you eat. So when you eat things that are made from stem cells of other living beings, you're becoming that. And you're not going to ascend because, number one, cannibalism is a crime against the Lords of Light or God of Light, and it will hold you back in your evolution of soul. And it also will stifle any of your innate abilities. They will also be diminished because you're eating flesh from other beings. This is why it's so important to eat raw plants. The raw plants have given themselves, they've already made like contracts with us that we can eat them, even if they are stressed out. In the beginning, we're supposed to be asking them to give up and sacrifice themselves for us, of which they will do gladly because they are made of love. That's what the green color is for. Now, I know that most Americans, at least, are addicted to all of the man-made flavorings and all of the carbohydrates and cheeses and stuff like that. So if you truly want to get healthy, you have to think about, what can you do to start integrating some of these raw plants? Well, you can make smoothies, you can make different meals, and it's really not about the food. When you really think about it, when you break it down into its fractal parts, it's not about the food, it's about the flavor. So if you can work on, learning new sauces, learning new herbs, and making your own spice recipes and this nature, you will find that you can really ramp up the flavor of your food, and it will also benefit you. And then you can share your recipe openly with others, and likewise other people can share with you. And it's a great way of communicating and getting us back to our social level of actually communicating with each other and sharing with each other. So that's just one little notion. Now, all of this 3D printed food stuff is coming out big time because the oligarchs, again, they already have all the money and all the technology at their fingertips to do all these heinous crimes and continue to do them against humanity, even as they get taken down. That's why they're moving towards the automated world of the artificial intelligence running everything, with us being ruled over by robots, because that's coming. All of these things are being planted right now as seeds for the change of tomorrow, the tomorrow world. Everything is about tomorrow world. And so, all of the things that are happening too, they've happened before. This is not the first time. This is a cycle. Time is cyclical, or at least this construct that we're in is cyclical, and things will happen over and over again. And again, we're looking at like Atlantean type of technology that's just coming back to the surface. This stuff has been around before. And maybe not in this specific way, but it's always similar. This is why you can see the hieroglyphs of airplanes and helicopters and stuff in Egypt in their different halls that they have there. But I don't think it'll always look this fake. I think that they've actually figured it out that, they can make it look exactly like a steak, because there's some other videos. There's even one where a man has a fillet of fish that he bought from the grocery store, and he's washing it in the sink, and he figured out somehow that the fish is not real. And he started making a video, and he shows you he squeezes it like a sponge underneath running water, and it does not separate, it does not goosh in his hand, and it actually reforms itself, it takes its shape back. Well, this is all because what's happening is they're using human heart cells to make this stuff. And when you're using human cells, that means that makes you a cannibal. That's why I showed you the New York Times article, is that the cannibalism is coming in. They're also promoting it outright, that it's great to, eat your brethren. They're saying that they're using stem cells from famous people and you can actually eat them, because they're trying to make it chic. They're trying to normalize it in the minds of these people who are not spiritual, who are not religious. They're, will just follow whatever trend is out there, and they're going to think it's cool. Just like tattoos and all this stuff. And I think that tattoos are actually another dark act against your light body, which is your physical body and your soul. So that's just my opinion and my own personal belief. Based on my research and my studies, I'm like, I don't think we're supposed to do that. But a lot of people have made it trendy, and it began in the prisons. But, people love these trends. They love everything about all of the normalization of different things. And I think instead of actually stopping to think about them, they just jump right in and go, oh, this is great, I'm going to do this. Okay, well, your body can be a billboard, but that's not for me. Anyway, that's my opinion, and it's not a personal attack or anything on anyone who has tattoos and loves to paint themselves, but not my personal choice. And I can have that. So anyway, here's some more stuff. Steaks grown from human cells sparks the interest and outrage. Of course, it's going to be outrageous. This is insane. But they're making all kinds of things from these stem cells, and it's disgusting. 3D printing heart tissue with human stem cells, a grate made of meat. And again, they have learned how to do this. They can 3D print just about any food. I saw a video where a tomato, they have a cherry tomato that they slice from a GMO cherry tomato, and then I guess they have an heirloom tomato or something that's not GMO. And they take two pieces from these things. They fill up a bowl of water and they put the slices in there, and the GMO slice starts to swim. After a few seconds of just waiting for the water to adapt to this, I guess, the cellular structure of the tomato, it actually starts to swim kind of like a fish. So it starts to wiggle and it starts to writhe around. And I'm going to show you something in a minute that's very similar. But all this stuff is pretty gross. Engineered whole cut meat, tissue, assembly of cells, lab grown ghost hearts. I mean, this is just, it's getting really, really bad. And it's truly time, if you care about your health and you care about your food supply, it's truly time to buy local and don't buy from the oligarch companies anymore. We're going to see people transform as they eat this kind of stuff throughout time. This has generational effects because these are seeds for change of 200 years from now or so, where we're going to see the effects of all this stuff, where people aren't going to be able to breed anymore because of the food that they're eating, and all of the changes that were made to their bodies, what's been implanted in them. I mean, it's so many different ways of attack on the light body of these spiritual people. People don't know that they're all spiritual people. And I do believe it's all speed bumps on their evolution. These people will get caught up, they'll be recycled, And they're all Saturnian traps, basically, because that's what Saturn equals, is time. This construct is Saturn's world, and we must learn how to escape it. It's a cube for a reason. It's a box to keep your mind in a box and to keep you from evolving, but it's also to make you see. The more you can look straight into the darkness and see all of the things, all of the atrocities, everything, and look it headlock in the face and say, thank you for showing me the darkness, because now I know how much light I need to shine, and I know what I need to do to move forward. Well, my archetype is one of a bridge. I am a bridge from the higher realm down into this plane. I feel it in my knowing of watching everything come down the pipe, seeing what's transpiring, also knowing that we're about to hit a miniature golden age. From all of the atrocities and all the great awakening and stuff, the light is shining too bright to not have some good that is on the horizon. I mean, it's very close for us. And we are going to be surprised and overjoyed and elated by what's coming, even though it seems very dark. It's only getting very dark because the darkness is in a hurry. I believe that all of the things that they're throwing out are seeds for the future, and that the future of humanity 4 generations from now is going to have some challenges. They're going to be faced with some things because, again, there's a book called The Fourth Turning, and it talks about these different evolutions. Like, they're cyclical, just like the seasons. And those seasonal changes can happen within a 80-year span. And so this person figured it out. Like, there's these seasonal changes where you go through a spring-like time of about 10 to 15 years or so, or 20, even 20 years, and then it goes into a summer, and then it goes into a fall, and then it goes into a winter. Well, this person actually figured out that we've hit the winter. This is what we've been experiencing over the last, I don't know, 20 years or so. And now we're about to hit another golden spring. So what that tells me is that there's always different seasonal changes in the evolution of soul. Like, there's obviously 3. We have the regular calendar year that displays all of the seasonal changes. And then we have the great calendar year, which is the great year cycle of 26,000 years or so, where it's showing seasonal changes. Like, we're in the winter of consciousness, where a lot of people are just not going to wake up no matter what you do. And we get to see a lot of darkness. We get to see a lot of death. It is very cold in the world. Like, people are not loving each other. They're not warm to each other. Some people are, some people are warm and friendly, but mostly people are locked inside the matrix. They're just looking at their phone. You go into a restaurant and you look around at how many people are just looking down at their phone instead of having conversations with the people right next to them. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. It's like a dark winter. I don't see people really helping each other. Like the Golden Spring, for example, I do believe where everyone is actually sharing and caring and helping each other, and that there is no division of class or status. I do believe that everybody is treated as equals, and they look to the different priesthood, which would be more of the shaman or magi for each area where people live. I believe they look to them to be the wise souls to help them see what's coming on the horizon, because those magi are actually alchemists. And if you look into alchemy of the 4 elements and what these alchemists and other people are into, they were into learning the spiritual laws, the laws that govern our world. The absolute truth lies in the foundations of our reality, and not the narrative that's always being spun. So in order to do that, we have to say, okay, well, I'm going to go inwards for all my questions that I have. I have all these questions and I need some answers. I want to find some different books to read, or I want some different subjects, or I want to meet some people. And guess what? All of a sudden, boom, you manifested that. And next thing you know, you've met someone, or there's a book that came your way, or a video or something that's come your way to give you more insight on that. Let me tell you, just from doing the last video that I made, I was with the different water towers. There was a different kind of tower. It's a different kind of cellular tower, and it has these round drum looking things on it. And I was like, what in the world is that? Well, because I've never come across information, or at least I haven't looked at the information on what it's actually telling me that's sitting right in front of my face. I'm like, I don't know what that is. I'm sure it's not good. Well, guess what? The same day, information comes to my visual about LRADs, the long distance audio, it's the audio weapons that they have. And lo and behold, they are these different towers. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's an LRAD. And I went back and I actually did some filming on it. So I'll have to put that together in another video. But it just blew me away, the synchronicity of that. I asked inwardly. I didn't even ask outwardly. I was by myself. And I just wanted to know. I was like, what is that? And it was just randomly where it was like a passing thought. And I let it go. And it manifested. So this is what I'm talking about. Just ask inwardly all your questions. Don't hold on to the question too long, because if you hold on to it, it will never be released into the ether to be able to manifest back in your direction. So this is what happens, when we desire something too much and we don't let go of that desire, is that it doesn't ever happen because it's still stuck in your thoughts. It's like a balloon. You want to blow it up and then let it go. And then it'll go out and work for you, and then it'll come back. It's like a homing beacon on that balloon, or it's like a boomerang kind of thing. Anyhow, you can check out this book. I don't own this book, but it's a fascinating thing. They do have some different book reviews on YouTube in regards to this book. It's kind of interesting. This guy figured it out, that things are cyclical. Time is cyclical. Anyway, getting into this ridiculous story. Okay, so this is supposedly their fish, their robot fish, right? And they want to make it look as ridiculous as possible because they don't want people to really fully believe it 100%. But there's actually videos on this. Not on this particular thing, but what I'm about to show you is going to freak you out. So here's this fish. This is their stupid, makeshift robot fish. This is not what they actually are capable of, and I'll show you in a minute. So it swims to the beat of human heart cells. Again, they're using the heart cells to make this thing. And whose heart, by the way, whose heart are they using? I don't know. I don't really want to know. Synthetic fish is powered by human heart cells. Scientists say that they could help lead the way toward building replacement hearts from human tissue. So they always want to give you the most mundane thing to slowly implant the seed in your brain, when they actually have this technology. It's been around for thousands of years, and we're only getting back into it. They just did a huge DNA grab. What were they actually doing? Well, I only can guess what the future holds for all of us with any kind of DNA grab. If you ever gave your DNA up for anything, I can only say that, your soul is tied to that DNA, and all of us are going to be captive at some point. I've never given up my DNA willingly, except for, when I was married. But at any time recently, I have not willingly done it, except for, doctors. They can take your blood and instantly have your DNA, except I guess, maybe when the blood deteriorates. I don't know. I don't know how it works, but, woe is us in the future if they truly don't destroy these DNA labs and stuff. Anyway, I'm not going to worry about it too much. My soul is eternal, and I'm not going to buy into their traps that they have. So this is powered by human heart cells, and it can swim on its own. And it just shows you how lab-grown heart tissue can be designed to maintain a rhythmic beat indefinitely, because the water is what is illuminating it. You should know this about water. Water is etheric principle. It can cross throughout different planes of existence, and it holds a very, very special energy that we have not even fathomed yet. It is crystalline structures that actually create our existence. So, yeah, special abilities, that water. Okay, well, let's look at this. Watch this. So here it goes. Okay, watch this. I don't really get how this thing does live. This fish has no insides, no entrails. Okay, he puts it back in the water. There's nothing in there. Puts it back in the water. Unless it's remote controlled, because look at that. I mean, look at how natural it looks. It looks very natural, except for the fact that it cannot submerge completely. Watch this little flip of the fin, and it does. Like, oh, that little extra flip. I don't know. It's disgusting, is all I know. And I just wanted to put this video out here for your awareness so that you know. Okay, so I did come across one of my little videos that I had emailed to myself just to look at very briefly. This is human meat on the menu. This is a restaurant that is promoting it in California. Here we go.
Hello, I just want to show you guys some super disturbing shit that I found today. Here we go. Now, mind you, this is not the dark web by any means. This is just something that you can look up casually. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of the Human Meat Project. People for people. One body can feed up to 40 people. Donate now. That's not the only one. Hold on. Cannibalclub.org. Specializing in the preparation of human meat, Cannibal Club brings the cutting edge of experimental cuisine to the refined plates of LA's cultural elite. Hold on, let me show you this week's menu. Panini pasta with meat sauce, sirloin steak, placenta lasagna.
So this is just more of the heinous stuff that is coming into normalization for our society. How long will it last? I have no idea. You know, there's people out there that will embrace this idea and this notion. The rest of us, we're being fed this heinous stuff without our knowledge. And that goes against all karmic laws. So I do not consent to any of this practice of deception with the food supplies and everything else and spraying the skies. I say this stuff all the time into the waters of the ether. You can do this too, and it will actually go out and manifest, because guess what? We were given the voice of light, not them. And as long as we all stand together with the same conscience and say we do not consent to any of the contracts that they're trying to get us to agree to, whether knowingly or unknowingly, then we can actually shift the whole dynamic on this plane of existence. But you have to just verbally state it and mentally state it and feel it inside of you for it to manifest. And it will work. It'll go out and it'll manifest through the ether. Well, I do not consent to any of it, and I am going to go ahead and wrap up this video. It's going to be a short one, but I just wanted to raise a little more awareness on all of the heinous food activities that are out here, and that it's only pushing us closer to each other and to see each other as the answer to our problems. Because eventually we get that whole lesson and we stop following the narrative and we stop trying to do man-made things, and we actually get back to nature and nurturing nature, which actually nurtures us. Nature has all of the things that we seek and does not deceive us. So I do believe that the only truth is there, and it's found in nature. So I hope you like this video. Do subscribe, like, and share if you haven't already, and I will see you on the next one.